Hey, everybody, it's Eddie from Tokyo, and this is your DeFi moment of the day. And I'm so pleased to tell you that I have Jungle Inc. joining me, and also two members of the team that is called SME, Subject Matter Experts. They are one of the first that I think I have talked to that are part of the infrastructure of the FlareNetworks platform. And they also possibly might give us a little insight to a product offering that they have, which is called Flare Fusion, but we're gonna leave that a little open. What I really wanna know is how they're going to bring value as a team to this network, because the platform is really something that belongs to all of us as a community. And they are gonna be an integral part with their offering to provide those rewards back to the community who participates. So I'm very interested and excited about this space. And I know, Jungle, you are also very interested, am I right?
I really am, and I appreciate being invited to be here and be part of this conversation. It's such an emerging and exciting development here within blockchain and within technology. And I think the key here is learning early and being able to hit the ground running, because this is very different than most of us are experienced with. It's something new, but together we can learn. And I think this is a great opportunity here today.
Yeah, so I'm not an expert by any means, but I want to be more up on it. And so I'm going to turn it over to who we have here. Who you see on your left is Jeff, and then we have Torsten on the right. And I think that if we let them introduce themselves, it's better than me trying to do that. So go ahead, Jeff, why don't you take it first?
Sure. So I'm Jeff Warner, as you may have seen on Twitter. And yeah, so I'm a longtime XRP holder and investor, and been in crypto since 2013, 2014. Very excited about the Flare network, and looking forward to bringing some products into the space to help its further development. And Torsten and I are longtime partners. Torsten?
Yeah, thanks, Jeff. Happy to be here. Jeff and I have just been working on a number of projects in the past. I'd equate it to the oil and gas. We basically traded our Caterpillar equipment in, our heavy machinery for crypto. So we've been doing a deep dive over the last, I'd say, 4 or 5 years. And really just like you were saying, Jungle, just about learning. And, something that we learned early in the oil field is you really need to listen what's going on so you can really learn, so you can become a leader. And so it's that boots on the ground, getting in early, and trying to identify our unique value proposition. And so with that, that's just kind of where we're going with our team, and where we're going with this market.
Yeah, so I know that everybody's very curious in the XRP community, because as I know, many other projects are going to be invited and utilized on this platform. XRP holders are so lucky, I think, to be in this position to be able to utilize this Spark token. And it's just now really starting to sink in to me that this is much bigger than just watching utility token move up or down in price. I mean, this is something that we're going to be able to use and create and define this space in a way that's, I think, just we're so lucky. I just feel so lucky. Yeah. So the role that you have is a little unique, right? You're going to bring a kind of a unique utility to the network. So please tell everyone what that is.
Sure. So I think the most important thing to understand right now from our project's perspective is we're not reinventing the wheel. We're actually taking what Flare has already defined, and we're building out infrastructure within their current system. And so I think you see a few projects popping up right now, and our main focus initially is to help launch and distribute the system by providing our own infrastructure to the network. So Flare Fusion is one in reference to the Flare time series oracle. So Fusion happens to be just a name that we came up with. It's, you know, if you put the votes together, you create additional sparks. So Fusion and, you know, yeah. So that's where that name comes from. And it's kind of funny because you see a lot of space-oriented names in the cryptosphere. And initially when Flare came out, I was like, oh, this must be a space-oriented name. And I'm like, well, Fusion just fits right in. But it turns out it's an actual signal flare, right? From the two generals issue.
The cost and flare, right.
Yeah. So our first product that has a consumer-facing piece to it is the Flare Fusion project.
And then you are also going to be an integral part of the infrastructure in providing a signal, right? That gives data, sends data to the Oracle so that is accurate data?
Yes, yes. So the FTSO, it creates a price for the network by receiving signals from different providers, and then essentially finding what the best price is and establishing
so that
and
price discovery is always ongoing.
Yeah, and I think of the white paper, they used examples of 1 month, but in reality and practice, it's going to happen over the course of every couple of seconds or every however often the ledgers can close.
So, okay, so do you want to talk about the rewards at all? I mean, why would, if I have a vote to give to a signal provider because I want to receive rewards back, why would I choose you?
Sure. So there's a couple of reasons, and your vote essentially has several functions. One of the primary functions is to help inflate the spark supply, and that is what essentially the rewards are when received. It's an inflation of the total float. So you would choose us because we're creating the best price and we have high win rates. So then the other aspect would be, well, each vote is what it is. It's a vote, and it helps determine the overall direction of the Flare network. So assuming we are good stewards of that vote, we are going to vote on your behalf for any kind of policy changes there may be. Right. And yeah, so if you believe in XYZ and we're not voting for XYZ, you may say, hey, we don't want to give you our vote. And on the flip side, if you know your policies and my policies and we all agree, then you're going to delegate to us.
So, I gotcha. So yeah. That's really the power is going to lie within the community, isn't it?
Absolutely.
On direction.
Absolutely.
Yeah, on direction of how this goes.
Yeah, and I think that's the kind of beauty of the way this network is materializing, is that sure, XRP holders were, you know, the first essentially to receive Spark, but there's going to be others, and it's ultimately the people own the direction of the network with their votes. So
I think this is what turns me on. How about for you, Jungle? This is that participation component, right?
It was. We were talking a little bit before we started this, how I think in the early days when you could participate in networks like Bitcoin by building miners and running part of that network, and it's really not feasible any longer. It's been overtaken. And I think this is the next evolution where we have to remember this isn't just holding a coin and someone else is doing it. We're taking part in this revolution of sorts. and we can cast a vote and make sure they go to people maybe we like the way Flare Fusion thinks, so it goes with them. And so we can really have an important part of this network and grow together. One of my questions would be, if we're getting rewards back, is it going to be in Spark or will it be in like Flare Fusion coin? How does that work? What kind of rewards are you going to be paying us for giving you our vote?
Sure, and that's a really good question. I see there's several projects in the works from different people in the space, and I think our core philosophy, at least right now, is that, you know, we're not going to reinvent the wheel. We're not going to create any new products. We're just going to help launch this infrastructure. So when it comes to paying the rewards, it will be done in the native token, Spark.
Oh, yeah, that's a good question, Jungle, because yeah, my brain had not got that far. Any other question, Jungle?
Yeah, I want to know about, again, that you're a signal provider. And again, this is space I don't know as well. I understand oracles take real world data and feed it into the blockchain. And as a signal provider, I believe you're going to be collecting information from various oracles. What exactly does a signal provider do? Does it pick the best information? You know, what exactly makes a good signal provider from a bad one, let's say?
Sure. So the objective of the signal provider, or I should say the oracle, is to have a very accurate price for any given pair. So how we determine that price is up to us, and that's intellectual property, and anyone can do it their own way. But it's in our best interest to provide the best price, because other providers that are also providing a good price, that is our competition essentially. So everyone is going to be competing to get closer and closer to the true value of that particular pair. So what would make a bad price provider is someone that has maybe too much latency or not enough latency, or maybe they're not aggregating properly, or they are aggregating too much, or they're, you know, there's so many different factors that could go into that. Or for that matter, they're plugged into an API of an exchange, and then that exchange crashes or something, and, you know, they no longer have a price. So there's several different kind of mitigating factors to determine that price. But ultimately, in order for us to generate the rewards, we have to have a good price.
Would it be comparable to a market maker? No, that was just a, you know, I was thinking.
No. So this is a really great question. Torsten and I were having this conversation last week. In simplest terms, what is an oracle, right? And so I think what we came up with is an oracle is taking data that is off chain and bringing it on chain. That's it. So the market makers are determining the price. We are just capturing that and bringing it onto the blockchain.
I gotcha. That makes sense. So for additional study, you know, everybody's really trying to understand this space. I mean, do you have a website? Are you going to be on Twitter? Do you have a YouTube channel? I mean, how is it that you're going to keep communicating with your Flare Fusion project and also with the developments of being a signal provider? Where do people go and get this information?
So I think right now the best way to have interaction with us is on Twitter. You know, like I said, we came from XRP. So there's a huge following on Twitter with, you know, XRP holders, which are now Spark holders. And so I think our primary interaction is going to be there for now. But we're going to launch a website, you know, where you can actually learn more information about what we're doing. But I think it's, without convoluting things too much, you could just think of this as a very simple project. We're building infrastructure for Flare within the constraints of what's already there. And, you know, we are a signal provider, and in return for vote delegation to us, you receive a portion of the rewards that are generated from our signal provider. And that component would be determined, you know, in a competitive sense of, okay, well, you know, signal provider A is at 2.5% commission, or whatever you want to call it, and we're at, you know, 2.4%, and, you know, we're voting within the vision of the long-term vision of the blockchain, and they aren't, so maybe choose us, and maybe we're cheaper, a little more expensive, but ultimately I think that, you know, will be determined down the road. So yeah,
I think it's good to digest. Yeah, go ahead, Kirsten.
Yeah, I think Jeff's right on following him on Twitter. I think Jeff has put out a number of good tweets and content and data to really create the trajectory of where it's going, right? So if you're really wanting to analyze it and know where the market's going and why, I think Jeff has done a great job doing that, and I think that's a good learning tool for some of your followers.
Yeah, just today was a good example of that. We tweeted, we showed some charts from XRP, and I understand there's going to be many F assets on the Flare network, but XRP happens to be of significant interest to us just due to its efficiency. But you can, I mean, just from today's tweet, you can see these charts, and you see this clear trajectory of usage of XRP. And I think we're kind of moving towards that point where we're not going full vertical yet, but I think we're very close to hitting that point where, you know, the usage of XRP is going to increase significantly. And as it pertains to Flare, that's really good for FXRP. You know, the more people that have XRP or want to use it, the more people that will bring that XRP into the Flare ecosystem and write smart contracts. And the same can be said for Litecoin, and it looks like Dogecoin at this point as well.
I saw that. And XLM is getting a lot of votes. Also, XLM is getting a high response rate to a positive bring it on in. I saw on Twitter today. Well, I'm going to, we'll keep this short, sweet, and simple today. I'm going to do a rotation, just starting with Jungle, down to Jeff, and over to Torsten. I just want to hear your thoughts and ideas on the DeFi space, because yeah, it's really fun for me to just see where everybody is at in terms of how exciting this endeavor is going to be. And so I just want to hear a little bit of words of wisdom from, we'll start with Jungle first.
Well, I think what excites me is these extra components and how I can delegate my vote. In this instance, to Flare Fusion, I can earn rewards back for that. But also, if they're doing a great job, the Flare as a total will be better and more valuable. And so that's, I've said it in this talk before, we can grow together, you know, us, the holders and investors, and really users, because I think this is a system to be used, not passively, but actively using these assets. And again, you have these systems built on top like Flare Fusion, and they can grow, and then the whole project itself will become more valuable. And I think that is something special, something new. And there's just going to be a lot that comes out of it because of that, because we can all have our part in this and grow together. I think that's the most exciting part to me about this.
Yeah, I agree. Jeff, what do you would like to give your parting thoughts?
Sure. So kind of goes back to when I first read this white paper. I didn't fully understand it. It's taken quite a while to get your head around everything, but I knew right away the first time I read, I just thought to myself, wow, this is really big. I ran downstairs at 3 o'clock in the morning, and I woke my wife up to say, hey, this is what crypto needs. And the reason for that is, there's a lot of value, just as FlareNetworks talks about. There's a ton of value, almost $1 trillion of market cap on the blockchain that you can't really do much with it. And so Flare, their whole mission is to take that value and bring it and make it usable. And in turn, you have all this liquidity that's sitting there that can be used for DeFi. I mean, $1 trillion of liquidity, you can literally create, products around that are just revolutionary. So it's something this is our most exciting thing that we're working on. And, I'm very grateful that, FlareNetworks came up with this. This is, long-term vision going back to 2013, 2014. I wasn't fully sold on Bitcoin just because of a lot of its bottlenecks. And so I didn't really get involved with Bitcoin. But with XRP, I saw the utility from it. And now I see all the utility that can be unlocked from all these chains that I didn't get involved with before. And so I just think you're going to see this explosion of use cases for everything across the board. And I think FlareNetworks is going to be what delivers that. So.
Yeah, I never, ever in a million years would have thought that we are getting into this kind of development and the metamorphosis from this simple, preventing the double spend. so we hoped, and then yeah. But I mean, the blockchain. Yeah. I don't think many.
It was only $20.
Yeah, only 22, I think it was.
Right.
I don't know for sure, but yeah, I just never imagined it was going to get to this point. Is so exciting. So Torsten, give us your parting thoughts.
Hey, thank you very much. Great conversation today. Things that really stuck out for me and some key takeaways would be kind of what I said about just that listening and learning to be able to lead. And not everybody has to be a leader in this industry, but you need to be able to listen and really learn. And, people would use the word due diligence. And so when you're performing due diligence on whether it's a stock you're buying or a company, or you're investing, or you're going to get a new job, or whatever that may be, you need to know what you're getting into, right? And so if you take away, for me, a lot of the words, and you really get down to that utilization and the functional utilization that we're seeing, and to be able to look back 5 years ago of what it was, and you look at today some of the problems with the cryptocurrencies and where it's going, and that speed for execution and the cross-border remittances. It's really hard to really put your finger on where the future of this is going to be. And that's where I'm back to this whole just learning as much as you can. That's why we want to be subject matter experts, so we can have that conviction and passion, and to know that, hey, we're not only doing this for ourselves, we're doing it for our families, we're doing it for the people within this community. And I'll use Ray Dalio's name again. I mean, wow, what information he's put out. And so I go back to that getting in sync. And just like today, the four of us, we're in all parts of the world and all different time zones, but we're really getting in sync. And so we're gonna touch people in a way that they haven't really heard this information. And so by using some different terminology that's not maybe crypto centric or blockchain centric, and getting in sync. And so Jeff and I were talking earlier about just like our networking and how we're crossing paths and how we're actually like coming to the same conclusions. And that's what's really going to help the speed and efficiencies, because people are now going to understand how to utilize it. And so those are my parting thoughts. So I'm excited about this, as you can tell. We've got a couple great projects, and we got a great team that we're circling. And thank you very much. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, we'll keep in touch with you for sure. Yeah. And we will touch base, hold on just a second, Jungle. And then maybe when you get closer to actually, well, we know the mainnet is going to launch. It says Q1 or Q2, but maybe Q2 is what we look forward to. And then you'll be able to launch your Flare Fusion project when the mainnet goes live, right?
I believe we'll be right there when they launch.
So like day of launch,
within a week or a couple of days or the same day. That's the goal.
Wow. Okay, so we will for sure, I will for sure touch base with you and bring you back on again. And you know, I want to hear.
Well, right, because I don't think the Spark tokens are going to be distributed at launch. I think there's going to be a little bit of lag there, but we'll have our validator up and running. And then as soon as the Spark tokens become available, you should be able to use our product.
Okay. Yeah, Jungle, go ahead.
Just wanted parting thoughts 2.0. You know, everyone's looking for the next Bitcoin, the next XRP. And I think we need to be looking for the first of something. And I think this is so special, and why it is the first. We know too well about how tribalistic things are, like, oh, Ethereum is so much better than this, or XRP is so much better than that. When you look at the focus of this, it's not about we're going to replace that because it's no good. We're going to bring extra utilization to that network and bring Litecoin in and XRP in and make those networks better. And I think that's so special compared to anything else we've seen out there. And it can be so much different. And there are things that XRP does that is so great in world class. And Litecoin has all these great attributes. And, you know, all these different projects are around and popular for a reason. Can lean on their attributes, but bring a lot to the table itself and be that thing that complements things and makes crypto better, rather than to just try to blow everything out of the water and say, well, that's no good. You know, I think that is a special part about this project.
This is a unifying project from day one. It's been presented as a unifying project, and that's very exciting.
It's a beautiful thing because it's something that this space really needs.
I think we all need a little
we all need a little
here.
It's good. It's healthy for the ecosystem for sure, for all the blockchains that are going to be brought in, and their value is going to be put on steroids through FlareNetworks. It's good for whoever gets involved in this. Thank you, everyone. I really appreciate it. And don't be strangers, and we'll
thank you
back with
Thanks, Jungle Eri. I appreciate it, guys.
Jungle. Thanks, Eri. Thanks, Jeff.
Take care, everyone.
All right. Thanks.
Thank you.
Bye.
All righty.
Thanks.
Bye-bye.